Psychic Frog and Vexing Bauble have been banned out of Legacy, and today we're updating the Epic Storm because we don't have to worry about Vexing Bauble. Let's go check it out. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. This is post-ban the Epic Storm, and this video is all thanks to Ari, who also donated for the last video. Ari donated for the previous Song of Creation Mox Opal deck, and then wanted to see post-ban the Epic Storm. The following video featuring Faithless Looting and Lotus Breach is also thanks to Ari. So Ari's fueling all of his brand new content here at the Epic Storm, so we really appreciate you, Ari. Really, you're one of our longest supporters, and I have not forgotten, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And a few housekeeping things before we get into the deck tech. So I scheduled this video to go live on Monday, which is the same day that my deck showcase goes live. So at 9 a.m. today, you should have seen a YouTube short featuring my deck. Well, if you go over to theepicstorm.com or visit the community section of YouTube, you'll also see it there. You'll find scans of my physical copy of the Epic Storm. Each day this week, I will have a new scanned version of one of my decks. So I'll have Pioneer Lotus Combo, Pauper Cycle Storm, Vintage Doomsday, CDH Rugrak Silas, and then Modern Ruby Storm. Those will be the 6 decks. So come back each day and check out my decks. You know, that would be pretty cool. I would appreciate that. All right, the other thing that I have to mention is that right now we're having a sale over at theepicstorm.com, and it is Storm 25 Save for 25% off the Epic Storm merchandise, including token packs. So go pick up some token packs. Help me hit my end of the year goal. As of right now, I'm still like 25 token packs short of hitting that end of the year goal. I would really appreciate it if everyone went and picked up one. Help me hit that goal. It would mean a lot. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And without any further ado, let's talk the Epic Storm. So if you watched my last video that you can find in the card above, it was on my experience at Eternal Weekend, where I played the Epic Storm featuring 3 copies of Fury Macabre in the sideboard. Well, we're not doing that today. I ended up not liking that very much. And in that video, I recommended a list moving forward that brought back Galvanic Relay, because Galvanic Relay, in conjunction with Gamble or Echo of Eons, allows you to create super large storm counts, and then you echo in a relay for a ton and easily win the game on the following turn. So we like that. And I just missed at Eternal Weekend Galvanic Relay. I felt like I was beating non-blue pretty consistently, but the problem was that against like the Demir tempo variants of the format, I was just lacking a little bit of punch, and I missed Galvanic Relay a lot. So the Thoughtseizes are back in the sideboard, and Galvanic Relay is back in the main. And you might be asking, Bryant, what happened to Urza Saga? If you're one of those people, go watch my Eternal Weekend breakdown. That is going to give you all the information you want. I'm not going to go over everything again today. But my deck list today is a little bit different, because even though I brought back Galvanic Relay, we have a new mana base. So we have Badlands, Taiga, Underground Sea. So only 3 dual lands. And then we have Commercial District, and then we have Undercity Sewers. So we're essentially doubled up on the best 2 lands in our deck, which would be Taiga, Underground Sea, but in the form of Surveil lands. And then we have 1 Badlands as our untapped second copy of red or black. All right, so why are we choosing to run this? Well, the real reason why is Pulverize in the sideboard. So Vexing Bauble was banned. That opens up some cards in our sideboard that we actually want to play. I never really liked Wear Down or Meltdown by Force, any of those cards I was playing before. I always sort of hated them, because the time that you would need to find your Burning Wish, to have mana to cast it, and then go get your sideboard answer, which could have been a Meltdown or a Bifrost or whatever. And then on the following turn, you have to spend mana answering the card and have all the resources you need to win the game. Okay, that's a big ask, like really. And over my track games, I played 260 matches. There was twice where that was reasonable. Well, with Pulverize, you don't need the mana in order to answer. So what happens is you can Burning Wish for Pulverize, untap, float black, red, or whatever you would like, and then play Pulverize. So now you have 2 mana floating, and you can win the game. And there's no paying resources for that exchange. So we like the fact that Pulverize is free, but we couldn't play that when Vexing Bauble was legal. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 is actually a really sweet card called Cave In, and I don't expect you to know what this is. But for 3 red, you get a sorcery that says you can exile a red card from your hand instead of paying the cost. Okay, and then it deals 2 to each creature and each player. why is this good? Pyroclasm exists. You could also run Grapeshot. Yeah, I get those things, but I just talked about how Pulverize doesn't require mana in order to turn the corner. It's the same thing with Cave-In. Well, why haven't we played this in the past? That's a fair question, really. So I think the difference is that we discovered Gamble for Echo of Aeons, and that adds more red cards to our deck. So when you count Gamble, Burning Wish, Galvanic Relay, and Song of Creation, you're now up to a hefty count of red cards, 12 in the main deck, 11 assuming that you play Burning Wish or the Cave-In. That provides you with enough where you should be able to play Cave-In for free. And that way you don't have to answer a collector oof the hard way with Grapeshot or whatever, while they're potentially wastelanding your Taiga or something else. So we like Cave-In for that reason. And that is why we're playing Cave-In. But you might be thinking, why not play Massacre? Massacre's free. All your opponent needs is a Plains. Well, the premier collector oof decks of the format don't always have a Plains in play. Cradle Control doesn't play Savannah. So what are you going to do against Cradle Control? Nothing. Massacre stinks there. And then you could argue that the Nadu decks do have basic Plains in them. And yeah, they do. But if they're smart, if you're facing a good player, they never put a Plains in play. They can cast it off Noble Hierarch or something else, or Green Sun Zenith. So that way they're never giving you the opportunity. Cave-In doesn't care about any of that. So we are Cave-In stands, at least for the moment. And hopefully we get to showcase it today. So those are really the big changes. So a concern came up in the Discord where somebody said, like, but you can't beat a Gaddock Teeg now. Gaddock Teeg is in 0.1% of deck lists right now, according to MTG Top 8. Not a huge concern. And then somebody else was like, what about Archon of Emeria? Less than 1%. I am not going to change my deck to beat less than 1% of the format. Like, you should be optimizing for wins, not to optimize to beat everything. And Collector Oof is a card we see a lot more often than 1%, and I'd rather build my deck to more easily beat Collector Oof than these weird corner cases. So those are the updates. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. I would love to hear from you. But I believe that's all I have for now. And if you, or for some reason you are a coward and you don't want to play Cave-In, I would probably cut the Beseech for Abrupt Decays. But I really think that you should just be playing Cave-In. It's so good. And that's all I've got. So really, let's go play some Magic. I'll see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first match. We're on the play, and our opponent does have an MTG Goldfish history recently with Infect, a deck that has Force of Will in it. So we've opened up a hand here that is capable of a turn 1 Echo of Aeons, but do we want to risk it? Infect can also kill you extremely fast, so I'm kind of tempted to keep this and just see what happens here. Just because I don't want to mulligan into Oblivion, but maybe I'm being a coward. I want to try this out, so we're going to do it. Our opponent's taking a mulligan to 5. We'll begin with a Chrome Mox, imprint Gamble, play Lotus Petal, and now we'll try Gamble with a 75% success rate. We'll search out Lion's Eye Diamond. Alright, so that worked out, and now we need our Echo of Aeons to resolve. Let's go. Spin that wheel. And it does resolve. Sweet. We'll play Badlands. Let's try a Lion's Eye Diamond. Sweet. Alright, Mox Opal. What about a Dark Ritual? So we have 3 mana, 4, 5, 8. So if I Burning Wish here and they just let it resolve, I can't Tendrils of Agony. So I could sacrifice the Lion's Eye Diamond. That is true. I could do that. My fear with that line is that I just lose the match, or at least game 1 to a Force of Will. So I have 2 choices right now. I can just get Galvanic Relay and cast it, and then I could pass the turn, or I can get Thoughtseize here, get a little bit of information on what they're playing, and then go Burning Wish into the Relay. And I think I like that a little bit more. So we'll grab Thoughtseize. And the opponent concedes. Sweet. Well, that's one way to win on turn 1. Alright, I'm going to assume that they're still playing Infect, and I'm going to bring in the Thoughtseizes. I don't love Relay in this matchup, so that can get sideboarded out. Easy as that. Game number 2, we've opened up a hand where Lion's Eye Diamond would be a perfect draw, but we still have Gamble. So we can, in theory, play this just a little bit slower and then have a protected turn 2 Veil of Summer Echo. They have turn 1 Glistener Elf. We could just be dead here. Alright, so let's play Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, and I think I am going to just Veil of Summer. See if that resolves. It does. And we're going to take that 75% chance of success again here. I could play out a land and not lose my Lotus Petal, but then my odds become 66%, and I don't want to do that. So now we'll play the Diamond. If they have Graveyard Hate, we do lose our Echo here, but it doesn't appear that they do. And now we'll spin the Echo. Storm is 7, we have 2 available mana. Brutal! We missed! That's so many lands. Alright, so we'll fetch. Grab our Underground Sea. Let's play Thoughtseize. We'll take the... I mean, maybe it should just be Brainstorm. Pray that they don't draw Invigorate. Yeah, we'll take the Brainstorm. Not loving my odds here. That was not a very good draw 7. They play Misty Rainforest. They attack for 1. And they don't play the Blighted Agent, so I wonder if there's a chance that they drew Force of Will. We'll play Commercial District. Bin the Echo of Aeons. I mean, I could try to Echo right now. Or we can just pass. I think I like the idea of passing. I suppose they might not have played the Blighted Agent because they wanted to Surveil. That would make sense. Windswept Heath. And now the Glistener Elf attacks again. 2 poison. And there's the Blighted Agent. Alright, so I am going to likely try to win again here. Brainstorm is a great draw. We'll play Bloodstained Mire. Let's cast the Brainstorm, see if we can convert these lands. Alright, we'll put the 2 lands back. Play Lotus Petal. And now we'll fetch. Let's grab Badlands. And Brainstorm off the Mox Opal. Okay. No protection still. Get rid of the Echo and Tendrils. We'll play Dark Ritual and Gamble. So something I could do here is grab Beseech the Mirror and then try to set up a Beseech the Mirror chain. So I would play, hypothetically, let's say I discarded 1 Chrome Mox. So I'd play out the other, that would be Storm 6, Beseech would be 7, and then Bargain would be 8, Bargain would be 9, Tendrils of Agony would be 10. We could even beat a Daze. Alright, let's do it. So now we'll play Chrome Mox, imprint the Brainstorm. We will Bargain Beseech the Mirror, Storm 7, Storm 8 Bargain, Beseech the Mirror, Bargain again, Storm 9, and Storm 10, Tendrils of Agony. Alright, we did it. No need for Echo of Aeons after all. We are now 1-0 in this Legacy League over Infect. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2, we've lost the die roll, and I have a hand where we just need 1 mana, and then we have Burning Wish as a win. If they're a blue deck, we have Veil of Summer. Also, if they are a blue deck and we draw a mana, I have Galvanic Relay for a bunch. I want to try this. I have no idea what our opponent is playing. I understand that you are 1 mana short, but the Epic Storm is just full of mana, so I'm going to try it. Sandstone Needle. Interesting. Well, I didn't draw a mana, but I did draw Echo of Aeons, so I'll take it. Dark Ritual, blue, and then red. We will Echo of Aeons. Storm is 5. Interesting. So we'll play out the Lotus Petal, that's Storm 6. My gut tells me that they might be on like Mono Red Sneak and Show or like Ruby Storm. I could hardcast Echo. That is a choice I have here. Or I could play the Brainstorm, and I could still hardcast the Echo off this Verdant Catacombs. And Brainstorm could potentially hit a third artifact for this Mox Opal, and it does. We'll put back Taiga and a Galvanic Relay. We'll play Chrome Mox, imprint the Relay. And now I have a... I didn't realize this before playing the Chrome Mox. I should have just gambled, because I could have just gotten Tendrils, and I just made my odds a little bit worse. Alright, well, it all worked out. Storm 10, Tendrils of Agony. I should have thought that through, though. My storm count was so high, I should not have played the Chrome Mox. Oh, gamble. I remember when I used to play Ponder there. I don't know what I was thinking. Tony Scaponi was right all along, and I was wrong. Tony, enjoy that. You can clip it. Alright, so we've won game number 1 versus Sandstone Needle. What does that mean? I have no clue. Alright, but we'll bring in our 2 copies of Beseech who Endures. And now we have to take 2 cards out. I don't think that any of those matchups are really good Galvanic Relay matchups. So we'll bring in 2 copies of Beseech. We'll bring in a Thoughtseize. Maybe -1 Veil of Summer for another Thoughtseizes, and we'll try this. If they are on like a mono red sneak and attack deck, I want some number of Veil of Summers to be able to beat Chalice of the Void on 0. This hand echoes. We will keep. Unfortunately, Underground Seas are land here, which is not a mountain. Well, they have Leyline of the Void, so this hand doesn't echo. But we could turn 1 empty the Warrens. Taiga. I'm going to play Underground Sea. Taiga, Sandstone Needle. Are you the Cascade deck? They have to be, right? The Violent Outburst deck. This is a Peer into the Abyss next turn. I'm 1 mana short this turn. We'll put Echo on top and then like a land. And pass. Beseech who Endures. I mean, this looks like the Violent Outburst deck. We'll play Taiga. Lion's Eye Diamond. So my fear here is that the Violent Outburst Cascade deck, Mississippi River, that's what it's called. I've seen builds that play Mindbreak Trap. Even though they're a deck that requires them to cascade into relevant spells, their sideboard just like hates losing to other combo decks. And I've seen builds that just like over sideboard. So hopefully I don't get punished here. We'll grab the Peer into the Abyss. And we'll play it targeting me. So something I could have done is play out my artifacts last turn, but then they could have destroyed one of my Lion's Eye Diamonds with Beseech, and I would lose the ability to play Peer into the Abyss, so I purposely chose not to. That was not a mistake or something I did not consider. And yeah, I mean, we're just rolling. We are now 2-0. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. It's round number 3. We're on the draw. I've kept this hand already. Our opponent has a recent legacy result featuring Bug Beanstalk. So I'm assuming that they're still playing that. And now we get to, well, that's a white card. Sylvan Safekeeper. So they're on Nadu. We do have a hand that could win turn 1. Having the Tendrils in your hand is an imprintable is a little awkward. We also need 1 more mana for the Gaia's Will loop. Interesting. I think I'm going to main face this Brainstorm to see if I can find what I need for the Beseech the Mirror. Well, that does it, folks. Okay, so we'll put back Verdant Catacombs and Tendrils of Agony. Play the Lion's Eye Diamond. Chrome Mox. Imprint the Gamble. Mox Opal, Dark Ritual. Play another copy of Mox Opal, and now we'll tap this for mana. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain, sacrificing the Mox Opal. Storm is 7. So we could go Storm 8 off the Chrome Mox, Storm 9, Storm 10 without ever touching the graveyard. We will Bargain the Diamond, and let's float mana here in case they do something, I don't know. And now we'll grab the other copy of Beseech the Mirror. Bargain. Loading 1 red. I guess they don't have a blue source, so I didn't need to play around days, but it's just good practice. And Tendrils of Agony for exactly 10. If they had an endurance, it would not have saved them. Wow. We're just running real hot right now. So if we think that they're on a Collector Oof deck, we want Thoughtseize, and we'll board out Galvanic Relay. Galvanic Relay, I really do believe, is the correct choice for game number 1. We haven't had matchups so far where it's been relevant. I understand that. But I do think it's the correct choice. And most of the time when you're bringing in Thoughtseize, you want it for the cards that your opponent has in post-board games, which is one thing I learned while playing at Eternal Weekend. Like, you want it for Consigned to Memory, which is a sideboard card. You want it for Collector Oof, which is a sideboard card. You want it for Mindbreak Trap. Seeing the pattern, sideboard cards. And yeah, so we're going to play Thoughtseize out of the board, at least for now. So here we have a hand where it looks really promising, but we don't have a land. I mean, this hand is just so close. I want to keep it, but my gut tells me it should be a mulligan. Alright, we'll send it back. This is a more disciplined hand. We'll bottom the gamble. Wooded Foothills. Savannah is back. Deafening Silence. That's not cool. Well, I'm glad I mulliganed to a hand that has lands in it. Underground Sea and Thoughtseize. They have double Nadu. Alright, we might be in trouble. I guess the one upside here is they currently don't have any blue mana. They play Dryad Arbor. We will cast Brainstorm. We'll put back an Undercity Sewers and a Scalding Tarn. Play the Scalding Tarn. Actually, should I redraw the other land? Is that crazy? They ripped the blue source. Alright, well that changes things. I was thinking that if I wanted to 4 mana Beseech the Mirror for the Beseiju, I could do that. Oh, I didn't bring in Beseiju. So we're just cold blocked out. Yeah, we'll concede. I won't waste any time here. So something you could do is just sit here and play it out. I don't know why I didn't think about bringing in Beseiju. In my mind, I did. So we'll bring those in. Get rid of these Veil of Summers. We don't need those. But it looks like I get to keep 1 card. I'll keep 1 Veil, I guess. In my head, I thought that I did bring in the Beseijus. That's just bad sideboarding on my part. I guess I'd rather have... it's too late. It's not going to let me. I would rather have had a relay over the Veil of Summer. Think we can do better? We'll mulligan. Do we bottom the Song of Creation? Yeah, we'll try this. Verdant Catacombs. And then we'll search out Underground Sea and play Thoughtseize. Take the Natural Order. Pass the turn. Forest and 2 Birds of Paradise. Brainstorm. Let's try that. Get rid of the Guy's Will. So I could Echo right now. I don't think I want to. How close am I to a... Hold on. If I put back the Dark Ritual, how close am I to Beseech next turn? If I go get another diamond, gamble, I'd have to discard the other gamble. We'll just put... So I can't use the other gamble next turn. So I'm incentivized to play this gamble this turn if I want to shuffle. But then I could, in theory, discard my... Alright, so I think the right play is we'll put back the Dark Ritual, play Lion's Eye Diamond, and now we'll gamble. Or Lion's Eye Diamond. I could play out this other one, but I don't want to get blown out by Force of Vigor, so I'm not going to. We're 1 mana short of Peer into the Abyss next turn. Verdant Catacombs is the land. Nomads in Core. They still have 3 cards. Chose to not play Noble Hierarch. Why would you do that? I mean, I could Thoughtseize and try to buy another turn here, looking for that mana for Burning Wish. Let's play the Thoughtseize. Endurance. Okay, that makes sense for the Noble Hierarch. So they have the graveyard covered no matter what. We'll take the Endurance. Alright, so we need to fade on 1 draw step here. They did not search out a Surveil land. That's pretty interesting. Gaia's Cradle was their draw. So I should do something this turn no matter what. Whether it's an Echo or something. And that casts Peer into the Abyss. So let's go. We'll play Burning Wish. And we're going to make a ton of mana. We'll say yes. We'll select the Peer into the Abyss in the sideboard. Target ourselves. One thing that we found when we were testing for Eternal Weekend is that we just really missed Peer into the Abyss, so we added it back in, and it's just been incredible, as you can see in this league. The only game that we've lost so far is the game where I forgot to bring in Beseech you. So, I mean, we're doing quite well so far. We'll tap the Opal for a blue, we'll play Brainstorm, put back a few lands, we'll play another copy of Mox Opal, Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual. I suppose we can play Beseech the Mirror into Tendrils, if I have to. Select it and cast the Tendrils of Agony. 3-0. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Round number 4, we're on the play, and we're facing Take Your Time, who is well known for playing land still no matter what the metagame is. So this is a great matchup for Galvanic Relay, and here we have one in the opening hand. I will keep. We'll play Scalding Tarn and pass. Alright, well, this is new. I think I'll just take a draw here. Love that. Alright, so now we'll just land go. Otawara. Interesting. Let's fetch. I'm going to try to Brainstorm into Orcish Bowmaster's mana here. I want to see what they're up to. We definitely don't want the guys well. And then I think I want to get rid of the Beseech the Mirror. We'll fetch again. Search for the Commercial District. Keep the Chromox. That's just another card off Galvanic Relay. Lines of Diamond. And you might be saying, why keep the Chromox when you could just bin it and then draw something else? That is fair, but this helps towards Metalcraft for Mox Opal. So every little piece of cardboard counts. Galvanic Relay for 4. Gamble, Chromox, Mox Opal, Dark Ritual. So no protection. End step, they Brainstorm. I'm afraid that they're on like a Omnitel variant, and then I'm just dead. No end step, Lorraine revealed. Tundra, so it's Esper. That's a Standstill. Interesting. Another Burning Wish. Let's begin with Dark Ritual. So they'll draw 3 off Standstill. Nothing we can do about that. We'll play the Mox Opal. And let's try Burning Wish. If this resolves, we can Galvanic Relay again. They Force of Will, exiling a Supreme Verdict. Okay, so I'll hold priority and play Burning Wish from hand. And then let's add 3 red. So there's an Echo of Aeons in the graveyard now. Another Force of Will, exiling Teferi Time Raveler. We'll tap the Opal for a blue. And then we'll make 3 more blue. And we'll play Echo of Aeons. Floating 5 mana, Storm is 7. That resolves. And we found another relay. Let's go. Okay, so I don't have a blue mana, or I'm sorry, I don't have a green mana off the Verdant Catacombs. But I could get Metalcraft for the Mox Opal in hand. So let's play Brainstorm, which is Storm 8. Oh, that was decent. We'll put back the Undercity Sewers and Song of Creation. We'll play out Lotus Petal. Mox Opal. Firm is 10. Play the Verdant Catacombs. Dark Ritual. We'll tap the Mox Opal for a green. And let's Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. We'll sacrifice the Chrome Mox that's empty that's on the table. So they have to fight here. They don't have a choice. Otherwise, they get the Tendrils. They Brainstorm in response. Storm is 13. Beseech the Mirror. They Force of Will. I'm going to fetch in response. I know that I don't want the cards on top. We'll search out Badlands. And I will play Veil of Summer. Sweet. We've taken game number 1. And I mean, it might not have looked like it, but Relay was the glue that made that game function. Like, you're like, oh, it was only a draw 4. Yeah, a draw 4. Like, those are pretty good. It cleared the top 4 off the deck. It gave us enough resources to win. Like, that's what we want. So, we will bring in some copies of Thoughtseize here. And bring in Beseech. So, something I've been doing in these matchups is that I would like boarding out the gambles. Just like, you don't want to be all in versus blue decks. I get that it's good, but we want to be a little more stable. And then you can bring out 1 Mox Opal because we're bringing in 2 mana sources. And Thoughtseize does help protect the Galvanic Relays versus Consigned to Memory. I mean, I would have liked it if this Tendrils of Agony was a Thoughtseize, but I think we're going to keep. Alright, so we will keep and let's go. Blooded Strand. Commercial District, let's play that out. I would love a Veil of Summer, thank you. Wasteland. Commercial District is now gone. I'm actually okay with that. We'll play out the Scalding Tarn and pass. I think the best thing that could happen is we draw into a Thoughtseize here, which we would fight over with the Veil of Summer. They're 4-color. I wonder if they're playing Leyline Binding. I am familiar with our opponent. They've been around for a very long time, so I'm having some banter in the chat as well. I always enjoy when I get to banter a little bit with the opponent. Fetch with the Scalding Tarn, and we'll search out Undercity Sewers. I think we'll keep the Brainstorm, trying to convert this Tendrils of Agony into something meaningful. Play Brainstorm. Put back the Tendrils of Agony. We probably don't need 2 copies of Burning Wish, so then I'll play Verdant Catacombs and pass. End step, they play their own copy of Brainstorm. I suppose the Volcanic Island and Tundra and Underground Sea could be for Prismatic Ending. I was thinking Leyline Binding originally. We'll fetch, grab a Taiga. We drew the Gaea's Will, not what I wanted. Suspend the Gaea's Will. And I think I want to sit on the Beseech in case they happen to draw something like a Null Rod. Another Brainstorm. And step, they cycle a Timeless Dragon, so they have a lot of cards that cycle for their Brainstorms. And they picked up another copy of Tundra. That's a Standstill. So fun fact, Beseech does destroy Standstill if I don't want them to draw 3. Yeah, I think we're going to give them a land here. Destroy the Standstill. Teferi Time Raveler, I mean, that's a good one. It does make my copy of Beseech the Mirror worse. And then they immediately draw a card off of it. Underground Sea, so they have lands for days. Gaea's Will is shut off by the Teferi. Another Veil of Summer. Let's play Brainstorm. The 3rd Veil of Summer, holy moly. So let's put the Beseech the Mirror on the bottom. Actually, do I want Burning Wish on the bottom? Does that make sense? I'm trying to make sense of this all in my head right now. So maybe I'm only allowed to keep 2 Veil of Summers? That's probably the move. So we'll play the other Beseiju, play a Veil of Summer. Dovin's Veto, and then we'll try another Veil of Summer. The Force of Will, exiling Force of Will. Alright, so we can untap and then try to win again. They have 3 cards, they plus Teferi Time Raveler. Gaea's Will is still suspended. I suppose I can move my sideboard down a little bit so that way you can see how many loyalty counters are on the Teferi. And they Surgical Extraction on my Veil, which is so brutal because I knew that I was drawing one here. They have 1 card in their hand. We need that 1 card to not be a counterspell. Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, Lion's Eye Diamond. And I think we should just play Burning Wish and pass, because if it is a counterspell, I can just Galvanic Relay if it's not. Really hoping their last card in hand is not a counterspell. So it looks like it could be a cantrip into a counterspell. Snapcaster Mage is just as good. So then they can hardcast Force of Will, and then they have another counterspell on top. Alright, we can go to the next game. A lot of interaction. Let's try it again. We could not draw a Galvanic Relay that game, and that was the difference maker. Game 1, we drew a Relay. Game 2, we could not find one. On the play. Sure. I don't know if I love this, but we'll keep it. Verdant Catacombs, pass. Commercial District, that's a good draw. We'll Surveil. I'd like the Brainstorm. Wasteland is back. Goodbye to the Commercial District. We'll play the Beseiju as our land for the turn and pass. Mystic Sanctuary. We'll search out Undercity Sewers. Keep Badlands. They could have Spell Pierce, so I think I'm going to fire off the Brainstorm now. That was interesting. So I get punished if they counterspell into Surgical. So maybe I'll put 1 Burning Wish on the bottom. And then let's fire off a Burning Wish here. And they do in fact have the Spell Pierce. They have the Surgical too. I guess in theory I should have put the other Burning Wish on top, keeping the Beseech the Mirror. Because now I'm just like dead to a Light Breeze. That's a misplay on my part. And they just don't even have lands, which means that they have counter spells in hand. We'll pass. No land drop for them. Another Beseech. What we want is to draw Galvanic Relay. Like, definitely what we want here. Explosives for 0. Beseech the Mirror. I mean, it's something. They cycle Lorien Revealed. So that gives them Tundra for Dovin's Veto. Another Dark Ritual. We'll play a Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. They have 8 cards in hand and they have to discard. Prismatic Ending. So they could have destroyed my Petal, and they decided that the mana was more valuable. And they're just going to go to cleanup again. Discard Standstill. So they're fairly afraid of what I could do. I guess we'll play out a Lotus Petal. They know about it, so I'd rather keep the extra card hidden. Wasteland. So they could destroy Badlands here, cut me off red. So they would destroy the Badlands and then use EE, and I wouldn't have any red mana. We'll go to cleanup. Get rid of the second copy of Beseech Who Endures. They play Otawara. Thoughtseize. I mean, there's no chance that resolves. It's either that or burn a Dark Ritual, and then they could Snapcaster Surgical on my Dark Rituals. So I think we'll just play Thoughtseize here. Counter Spell. So they have Counter Spell and Dovin's Veto. Scalding Tarn. So the Commercial District is in my graveyard. So that means that the only land left in my deck is Taiga. They Surgical on Thoughtseize. Well, I don't have any of those. I would also just love to draw Tendrils of Agony. That would be delightful. Another Beseech the Mirror. We'll play the Mox Opal. Just playing into this Engineered Explosives. And there's Teferi Time Raveler. So now the best thing I can do with these Beseech the Mirrors is Diabolic Tutor, which is what we're going to have to do. We finally drew a relay. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Beseech the Mirror. They Force of Will, exiling Standstill. We will Beseech the Mirror again. Storm is now 6. They Force of Will, exiling Dovin's Veto. 3 cards remain. Let's fetch. Grab the Taiga. We'll play Lotus Petal. So if they do have a Flusterstorm, we could pay for it. If they have Consigned to Memory, we're just done. But let's see. Storm 9. Galvanic Relay. And there's no Consigned to Memory. Looks like they do have a Flusterstorm that I'm going to spend some mana on. Alright, so we need to find which copies have multiples on them. Looks like the first 4 all have 1. So we'll just spend mana on those. So we get 4 cards out of this, assuming they don't have another copy of Flusterstorm. Apparently I messed it up. I'm only getting 3. That's on me. So if I lose this, it's my own fault because I could have gotten an extra card. We exiled the Tendrils. That's terrible. That's my only win condition. So now I think I'm just screwed. I'd have to resolve Echo. I have not seen a Lion's Eye Diamond yet this game. So if we could draw a diamond, I have Diamond Veil Echo. They're going to bounce their own Engineered Explosives. Another Wasteland. So they're going to try to cut me off red. Or no, they're trying to cut me off green for the Veil of Summer. Another Mox Opal. So the only way I can cast the Tendrils is if I imprint the Echo. And that's the only way I can win this. So I think our opponent got us here. Their deck just being all interaction was too much for me. They could also destroy the Chrome Mox with the trigger on the stack, exiling the Tendrils permanently. So we'll Tendrils of Agony for 4. This is not looking good for us. Play Bloodstained Mire. We'll pass the turn. So I have all the fetchables, but if we are able to resolve an Echo of Aeons, it's good to have these in play because they become mana sources. We will pass. Alright, Snapcaster Surgical on the Tendrils wins. And I think they see the line. And they do. We will concede to that. So that's a bummer. We lost the blue matchup. I love my blue matchups when I have Galvanic Relay, but we weren't really able to convert here. It took us too long to find the relay. Our opponent had enough time to find one of their copies of Flusterstorm, which I'm guessing might only be a 1 or 2 of, because how else do you have room for Counterspell and Dovin's Veto and everything else, quite frankly. So yeah, we got. Sometimes you lose in Magic. It does happen, but we're going to try to win match number 5. Stick around and find out if we do. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? The final round, we're on the play. Let's see if we can convert this into a 4-1. We will keep this because our opponent has been playing a lot of Ad Nauseam Tendrils recently. And this hand, well, it goes fast. So let's party. We'll play Chrome Mox, imprint a Burning Wish. We'll play out Lines of Diamond. And then let's gamble. I want to go grab another Lines of Diamond here. Uh-oh, we failed the 75% chance for success. We'll spin. Storm is 4. We still have a land drop. Okay, so this is Song of Creation next turn. Or I can spin again. I kind of want to just spin again. Alright, so we'll gamble. Go grab Echo of Aeons. And now we'll spin with 2 available mana. Storm will be 9. So I did not draw the win. But what I do have is a Galvanic Relay for 10. Versus my opponent's hand that is not sculpted. So they need a turn 1 win here off a random 7. We'll grab Taiga. No, I should grab a black source in case I draw Beseech. Galvanic Relay for 11. Alright, please don't kill me. They play Underground Sea and Ponder. Good sign for us so far. And we win game number 1. We'll bring in Thoughtseize, take out Galvanic Relay. And let's try this. So one thing has changed about the current Ant builds. A lot of them, if you've been watching the channel recently, are playing ways in the sideboard to beat Veil of Summer via Burning Wish. Like Torment of Hailfire, for example. Some lists have Grapeshot. So you're not really allowed to hide behind Veil of Summer like you could have a couple years ago. We're on the draw. Is this crazy? I think I'm going to keep. So you could mulligan to a hand that just like turn 1 combos, but your opponent's on the play. And they're a deck that plays 7 to 8 discard spells, and they just conceded the match after they mulliganed to 5. Okay, sure. I would be embarrassed to be playing Ad Nauseam Tendrils too. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. It's a fine deck. It did really well at Eternal Weekend. I'm just trying to talk some trash here. So yeah, we went 4-1. What did I think of the deck list? I liked double Surveil land again. Now that the format's a little slower, you're allowed to play 2 Surveils, and that felt really good. Cave-In and Pulverize obviously did not come up. I never really felt punished by double Taiga or double Underground Sea. That felt fine to me. The only thing I'm disappointed in this league is myself. So I had 2 misplays versus the Standstill deck where I'm not saying I would have won, but I would have been in a better spot for success. So the Brainstorm game 3, I could have put back double Burning Wish. I probably should have. I wouldn't say it's like a giant blunder, but it is a small misplay, and I don't like to misplay. So that's on me. And then the Flusterstorm, I looked at all the Flusterstorms. I don't understand where I went wrong because I thought that I was going to get 4 and I ended up with 3. So it happens, but I would have liked to have played that a little bit better to give me a better chance of winning. I'm not saying I would have won, but those sort of small things are the difference between a 5-0 and a 4-1. So we got the 4-1 today. I would have liked to have trophied, but c'est la vie. And that's all I've got for today. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you like the new list? Are you glad Pulverize is back? And what do you think of Cave-In? Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And as always, keep storming. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. After you do that, open up our description where you can find all of our social media networks, including our Discord, where you can discuss today's deck in that Discord with me and tons of other combo masterminds. It's absolutely free to join, and it's certainly worth your while.